everyone, this is Tim Surratt for GameSpot. I'm here at the THQ booth, E3 2010, where they're showing games like UFC Undisputed, SmackDown vs. Raw, Red Faction Armageddon, and of course the game we're all here to see, Homefront. I'm here with Dave, who's the GM and creative director of Homefront. Now, Homefront's, unlike all these other games around here, it's an original title, so it has a very original story. Why don't you tell us about what's going on in Homefront?
Sure. Actually, the Homefront really revolves around its premise in many ways. You know, we've created this occupied USA in the future year of 2027, and you actually start the game 2 years into the occupation. So the premise, or sort of the X statement for our premise, is what we call the familiar has become alien. So places you grew up, suburbs that you're familiar with, where you shop, where you raise your children, you know, all those things you experience in Homefront, but they've been twisted by this occupation. And it'll be a USA that you've never seen before. So we really want to bring something fresh and original. It's not just about combat with America as a backdrop. You know, it really is about experiencing it, not only from the combat side, but also from the sort of human cost side and the emotional depth of it.
Yeah, this is our land, and they came and took our land. So there's going to be an emphasis on making it emotional. How do you do that in the story?
I think one of the ways to do that is to put yourself in the shoes of a civilian turned resistance fighter who also has families, and you're striving to scrounge up your headquarters and hide from the occupiers. And the second level in the game that we're showing here at E3 really shows that how the civilians have adapted to this life. And there's women, there's children there, you know, and sort of later all those elements get caught up in this occupation and the battle. While if you just focus on the military side of it, you lose all of that. So for Homefront, that's really one of our big focuses.
And because this is set in occupied America, are we going to see landmarks that maybe have been slightly destroyed by the invaders? Can you give us a few?
Yeah, I mean, we got it on some of our posters. So the game actually ends in San Francisco and the Golden Gate Bridge area. So there's an example for you.
That's my hometown.
Oh, there you go, man. You got to defend it.
Now, it's not just a single player, there's a multiplayer. What can you tell us about that?
So multiplayer is a really big focus for us, actually. A lot of our gameplay mechanics and innovation is coming in on the multiplayer side. It's in many ways the bread and butter of the studio, you know, Battlefield 2 and Desert Combat and Frontlines. So the multiplayer will be a large-scale warfare multiplayer. We're not releasing that many details until a little later in the year. But you can think of the theming of it as sort of the skirmishes that happen between the occupying Korean Federation or Republic and the U.S. military. You know, tanks, helicopters, all that stuff. So.
And this takes place in the not too distant future. What kind of guns are we going to see, or what kind of vehicles are we going to see?
So what we're doing is we're taking the weapons from today. There's some advancements into them, but sort of in this dystopian future, in this decline, you know, military inventions and so on hasn't quite evolved as rapidly as it would normally have. However, you still get a little bit of future tech. There's drones in the multiplayer game, and in the single-player game, you have this autonomous combat vehicle called Goliath, where you control its rockets, but it targets autonomously, and it's kind of like your sidekick in the single-player game with a future weapons kick to it.
That sounds great. And the last question, tell us when it's coming out and what we can play it on.
So it'll be early 2011. It'll be 360, PS3, and PC.
That sounds great. Homefront, check it out when it comes out. This is the THQ booth. Sorry. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time.